Hey, what up, guys? It's me again, and welcome to This Is My Moment podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Mitchell. And here at This Is My Moment, we love to have a good time. We love meeting new people, and we love to see you smile. And oh, yeah, it's season 2, baby. Let's go get it.
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better. Cause it's all about.
Today, I got a guy on the other end, man, that I want to talk to because it seemed pretty interesting. And a lot of you guys don't know this about me, but I do a little bit of gaming here and there. I ain't never really been good, but I got a cheat code in me. Introduce yourself to the family.
Hey, my name is Titus, Titus Walker, and I'm the owner, founder of the Ultimate Endgamers League, or UEL for short.
That's what's up, man. Hey, so Ashley, she was like, hey, we got this guy. What do you think? I looked, I said, okay, I'm going to chop it up because a lot of people that know my story know that video games has been a big part of my life growing up because that's how me and my brother would catch up. Like we'd stay up when we were kids, we'd stay up at night, right? Playing the Super Mario Brothers, playing the Duck Hunt, like all the old games, right? And now as adults, when he comes to visit me, that's still how we catch up, right? Like we still catch up. And it's just something about that. You know what I mean? And I love it. What got you into gaming, man?
Pretty much the same thing. My family, my dad actually introduced it to me back when I was really young, 5 or 6 years old, and it was Mortal Kombat, and we would play that, and it was just a lot of fun, just mixing it up with them, and that was our way of connecting. Gaming is an art form or a language, and you can speak it like just like music, or any other sport. It's its own language that as long as you play together, you're speaking the same language and really just enjoying it.
Man, you spot on, man. You are spot on. Like my kids, man, my kids don't play. Like I lie. My son plays, my daughter doesn't. My son, he's into the role playing, like it was the Halos and all that. And I never been into it, man. I'm a 2K guy or something like that, you know what I mean? A little Madden here and there. But I've never got around to just being that. So when me and my son play, this is one or two quick ones, and then we pretty much done. We got to find another sport to get into to bond as far as that goes. But I know the importance of having that time to where, hey, Dad, how did you do that move? Now you trying to learn the move, you know what I mean? And I dig that. Talk to me, man, about the Ultimate Endgamers League, UEL, man. What got you? Like, first off, man, what kind of cat gets into esports to where he makes it a business? Because it wasn't always a thing. So what got you? What got you going?
Yeah, so great question. Essentially, when I wanted to get into the gaming industry or gaming business as a whole. I come from a real estate background, did really well in real estate investing, and kind of saved up a bunch of money. And one day my wife just was like, we had bought a virtual reality machine, and I was playing it with my brothers, and she was like, you should turn this into a business. And I was like, huh. Like I had tried so many different businesses along the way. This is probably my fifth or sixth business, and I had tried so many that, over time you start to feel, a little bit more down on yourself before you start something like this. And but when she said that, it kind of inspired me to be like, hold on, like, why haven't I? This is actually something that I love, and I have loved since I was a kid. Why couldn't this be a business? And so I started, looking into the business plan and realized quickly that esports was really, if you wanted to make money in gaming, if you aren't creating the game, then esports is kind of the future, the only route to take to be able to make money. And so I did, and yeah, it's done amazing since then. So.
Dig that, man. I dig it, brother. And you know what's funny, right? A lot of kids growing up, they wanted to get into the video game design and part, and then you realize the daunting task of making a video game. It's ridiculous. And then you're like, oh, I'll just play, and then and then the internet came, So now you ain't just got to play with the cat at your house, man. You playing guys all overseas, man, and all this stuff. And it's funny, when I first realized it was a thing, right? My son was in college, and I went to a basketball game. He played basketball in college, man. I went to a basketball game, and I saw a esports scholarship available. And I sit there, right? I'm like, I asked my wife, I said, babe, what is esports? And so she's like, I don't know. So I'm reading the thing. It's like, yeah, it's the video game aspect of teams and you going against this college, man. And I was like, them boys done made a video game league. And that's essentially like an old cat. That's what it is to me. Like, it's a video game league when cats here going against cats there and you battling it out for supremacy. Right? So, man, how do you grow it? So you started it, you found it, like, man, this is my hot spot. This is like, I'm doing what I love. Passion meets purpose meets yes. How do you grow it?
So yeah, another great question. So when I first started it, I recognized one big flaw in the current esports world.
Okay.
And so you talk about like colleges, I again came from a real estate background. I looked into esports and one of the biggest flaws I saw were they were creating this league or this, all a league is really just a community. It's a large community, right? So an NBA league or NBA period is a community. It's a community of viewers, fans, players, coaches. That's all one big community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw it that same way. And I'm like, okay, well, you're creating an esports league is what you call it, but it's based around one particular game. And I saw that as a flaw because I'm like, okay, that would be like if I was building a mansion on someone else's land, right?
Yeah.
If it's not my land, then at any point in time, if the developer of that game decides that I can no longer, it doesn't matter how big the community is. The community can be 100 million strong. If the person that owns the game says, oh, you can't play my game no more. Well, now my community is in shambles. The 100 million that I built it based on is now gone, right? So I can no longer. So it's like, and you're starting to see that now. 4 years ago, when I was looking into it, that was just what I saw coming around the horizon. Now it's actually happening all over.
Yeah.
Nintendo has completely pulled their games and doesn't allow any leagues to do it. Call of Duty has pulled, NBA 2K, all of these companies, because of course, like if they see there's money in it, why wouldn't they pull it and say, it's capitalism 101. Like, of course they're gonna do that, right? So now you've built this community and you own the community, but you don't own the game that the community that language that community speaks. And so I was like, all right, I got to do something different because I see something coming that could cause some serious issues. Yeah. And so I was like, what if we created something that it was its own game. It doesn't really focus on any game in particular, but instead focuses on the art form of gaming as a whole. And so like, just like you think about UFC right now, right? Like UFC is boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, karate, all these different things combined to create the ultimate fighter, right?
Yeah.
So I said, all right, I'm gonna base it off of that. I watched UFC growing up and saw, the tap out guys and how they did their thing. And I was like, all right. So I actually did a ton of research and said, how did the NBA get created? How did the NFL get created? How did the UFC get created? Because before the NBA, there was basketball. Basketball existed. It just wasn't in its complete form, right?
Yeah.
And same with gaming. Gaming exists, but I don't think it's in its complete form. So I'm like, all right, why not me completing that form, right?
Yeah.
So I created a system that essentially is a game of its own. It looks at 5 different genres of gaming: sports games, shooting games, racing games, fighting games, and strategy games, right?
Okay.
It combines all 5 of those categories and you compete in all 5 as a team. So now you're working as a team with all 5 categories in mind and playing against another team that's trying to develop the perfect gamer, which we call the master of gaming and end gamer. So Ultimate Endgamers League. And so the end gamer is the master of gaming that understands all different genres and can play them all at a high level. And built that, created the format for it.
Yeah.
And it's been crazy ever since.
Man, I dig that. Let me ask you this, man. It's not on your list. I'm listening to you talk, right? And it's hard for me to like really get into talking to people. But this here, man, I love because it's something to me personally. Let me ask you this though. So each team, are they playing like a different basketball game, or they're playing the same basketball game and they're playing the same this? And then how are you picking the winner? Like the max score from here, like, and it's not on the list, man, but I want to know how to win.
Let me break it down.
Give it to me.
It's simple. So you have we have a rule book and everything, but we won't get into that. The basic premise of it is you have 33 games on a roulette wheel. So they can be played at any time, right? If a game gets played, it gets pulled off the wheel and you play the next one. So that game is only worth 1 point. So the game is irrelevant. It doesn't really matter, but it fits one of those 5 categories.
Yeah.
Then the wheel spins again. Whatever it lands on, you play again. So my team versus your team, you pick from your team who's going to go in and play that game. And then I pick from my team, right?
Mm-hmm.
But similar to a baseball rotation, we got to think about it, because if you play your best fighter, they can't play again until everyone else has played. So you may end up with a sports guy playing in a fighting game. And so that's why they have to be an Endgamer. They have to master all these different forms to really understand or really be able to win.
You strategizing too.
Yes. So coaching is 60% of the game. And there's so much excitement and, oh man, what's going to come next? You know what I mean? And then it spins. Everybody's watching it spin. It lands. And they're like, oh, all right, we got to plan for this next game. You know, who's going to go in, you know, all that stuff like that. So
that's solid.
It is probably one of the most exciting things out there as far as sports go. And it's so much fun to play. Everybody really enjoys themselves. And as a community, you get to, teach, each person teaches another person. And so the people that play the shooting games have to teach the people that play the sports games and vice versa. And so, so it really is, it's amazing. We got a game going on right now. So
I like that, man. I'll tell you what too, man. And video games to me has always been like the equalizer. You know what I mean? Like you can be 7 foot tall, dunking on cats, right? You get into a video game, man, and you losing to a cat that's 5'3". You know what I mean? You might be
12 years old.
Hey, you know what I mean? Like I'm out there losing to my kid. You know what I mean? And it's like the ultimate equalizer. But you know what, man? Inside of playing that, man, it's a good time. It's enjoy. It's fun, man. And the way listen to you, man, I'm like, I'm gonna have to look this up, see how much I got to do to get in there. I like that. I don't know how good I'll be. I might not be no end gamer, but I definitely donate to the cause of having fun.
Exactly. And we have people that travel from California, New York, Virginia, all over to compete, because this season, so this is our 7th season, and they're competing for $100,000.
Ooh. Hold on. Wait a minute. So you bringing all these teams to one location, and we're going to, man, what? Are you serious?
And we have a draft every season, just like an NBA draft.
That's my next question. So don't get too deep into that. I'm still tripping on that you bringing cats in. So you got like a big building or something with the TVs going, and cats is just.
Yep, we got an arena. Yep, we got an arena where the gaming happens.
What?
We have, we are really doing it.
Talk to me about a draft. I know what a draft is. I'm a sports guy. Yep. What does an esports draft look like?
So as of now, we have 12 different teams. We just did an expansion. Yeah, we added a few teams. So we had our own expansion draft first for season 7, and then we got into the regular draft. And essentially what happens is you have all of these players that are competing to join the league. And so this season we had about 200 players that wanted to join. 200 pro gamers, and we have everything from the top fighting game player in the world to nobodies, all trying to join. And they're not nobodies, but nobody's in the gaming world, right?
Yeah.
And so they had about 200 of them. We've only had probably about 20 to 30 spots available, to those gamers, because a lot of the teams were already full and just looking for little pieces. Like, oh, I need a fighting game player that, you know, is committed to learning sports games, or, you know, that type of stuff. Each team is owned by an investor. And so the team is owned and managed by the investor, and they hire, you know, a general manager, just like regular, you know, sports, a recruiter, a coach, a trainer. And sometimes those roles are all fit by one person, depending on how good they are. But and so they recruit and get, you know, start to look through that draft prospect and say, okay, we're going to pick up this player. And then each team goes up, and when it's their turn, you know, they get 5 minutes to decide who they're picking. They announce who they pick. That player, you know, comes up on stage like, oh, you know, they're officially a pro gamer, competing in season 7. We interview them, you know, all that stuff like that. And then they go back and they start practicing with their team. If they make the cut, then they're a rookie end gamer. But if they don't make it through that initial cutting process, then they just go back into the free agency. Possibly they get picked up by another team, but there's just not a lot of slots left right now.
I love it, brother. I love this. Let me ask you a question, man. So you got 12 teams. Are they located? So they're located pretty much. Or is it globally or just U.S.? Like is it cats from everywhere?
Yeah, mostly East Coast. So we have Maryland team, New York, New Jersey, West Virginia, DC, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Solid.
Yeah, so
I like this, man. So I know what a draft looks like. Are all these cats coming to you guys like when you see it on the TV with the drafts, like they're sitting there, man, and when they call their name up, the owner of that team's like, hey, we're picking John Smith. And John comes up, shakes the head. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, exactly. Most of the top prospects we invite out, and then the rest of them, like if we don't know if they're gonna get drafted, we normally don't invite them.
I might need a ticket to just come watch one day, man. I'm not gonna play no games because I ain't gonna embarrass myself. But I tell you what, just coming to look and be a part, man, I would love to come out, brother, for sure.
And there's trades throughout the season too. So the general managers will trade their players. You know what I mean? If they, yeah, man, it gets crazy.
That's heavy. Oh, I like that. What sets UEL apart from other esports leagues? What sets you guys apart?
Every esports league in the world. We're the only ones in the world that have a multi-game focus. So every other esports league in the world, whether it be collegiate, because we partner with a couple colleges. So unless they're partnered with us, it's literally just one game. So they play 2K against each other, and then winner wins, right? Like that's the whole thing. Or they play, you know, Call of Duty or Halo. You know, it's just that one game. Our focus is on gaming, period. So the game is really irrelevant. Every season, the games change based on, you know, what games, you know, participate with us, what games will license it to us, what games will pay us to put it on the wheel. Because, you know, once you have a community big enough, you got to think, like, if I got a community of 100 million and you have a game that you've just developed and you want to promote it to 100 million people, will you pay me to go ahead and put it on my wheel? Most likely,
without question,
right? Exactly. And so that essentially is the goal. And then we take that money and we distribute it back out to the players, as opposed to any other league right now, which essentially is completely reliant on the game. Because if the game decides, hey, I'm gonna tax you now, you know, it's gonna cost you, I want 90%. You got to do it. You don't have a choice. Or if the game just comes out with an update that completely eliminates the way you play the game, that's now that's done, right? Or if the game comes out with a new version, so instead of Mortal Kombat 1, you got Mortal Kombat 2. Well, now you gotta build that next community, because some people are gonna fall off because they still want to play 1. But if you keep playing 1, you're outdated now, right? And so, so there's so much focus on that game that the developers could even get caught up in some controversy, and now nobody plays that game anymore because of that controversy. They get canceled, and now you cancel too, and your community is too. And so I think that's where esports has it wrong. You know, currently every other esports league in the world does it that way, and that's where they have it wrong, because if you do that, you are at the mercy of the game. And that's not, you can't build a business at someone else's mercy, because now they own your business, you don't.
Yeah, you know what, man, you spot on, brother. I tell you what, ain't nothing like having to depend on somebody else. You are an entrepreneur, but the moment that these cats say, hey, you know what, every time this on, I need 50. Like, wait a minute. Like, how am I supposed to eat? So now, you're right, man. You're right. You might be on to something, brother.
I'm definitely on something.
You might be on some 7 years worth, huh? Yeah.
But like, if you think about it, like those 33 games, they can change every season, and my players are willing to play any game as long as it fits those genres. They don't care. They're not there for the game. The game is irrelevant. That, you know, if Call of Duty says, "Oh, you can't play my game," cool, we'll play Ball of Booty. I don't care. Like, we play whatever game, because you know there's some developer out there that created a similar game that plays the same way that I can put, and we'll play that. It doesn't matter to me, you know.
I like that. Are you on a team? Or you just big dogging?
Yeah, I'm a commissioner. I'm not on a team.
What's one of the goals that you've set that you haven't reached yet?
Oh man, there's so many of them. I have tons of goals. One of the closest goals that I've set is I'd say $1 million advertising campaign. So putting $1 million into advertising alone. That's a big goal of mine, because I think once we reach, mass visibility, everything changes, because I think it's only right, like that, on the path of the way everything goes, right? Like, you have, like I said, NBA, but I don't know if you know the history of it, but they had the BAL and the
ABL,
ABL, all that. So all those different leagues had so many different rules and regulations. Some of them they were playing up to like 50 on 50 and had no backboards, and there was no dribbling in some of it, right? And so it was a crazy thing at that time for a lot of basketball cats that, because basketball didn't have any, foundation. And so for them, it was like, oh, wait, you're putting dribbling and, a backboard up and passing all in the same thing. That won't work, right? Same thing with UFC. They're like, oh, boxing already has its thing. Why wouldn't we just do that? And a lot of, boxers shunned it, right? And a lot of jujitsu and wrestlers, because they all have their thing and they do that. It's the same. It's the same with this. All these different worlds, the fighting game world has its thing. The sports game world has its thing, and they can do their thing with us doing our thing, right? And so, but I think that it makes sense to say you aren't a gamer unless you can play multiple games, period, right? If you can only play one game, then you play that game, period. But you're not a gamer, right? Because you can't play me in the other things, right? It's just like if you're playing somebody in basketball, they're like, oh, but you can't beat me in football, right? Or whatever. It's that mentality of like, if you aren't well-rounded, it's not a wrong mentality to have. And I think it's the path of gaming. Essentially, it's going down this path of, right now, the Call of Duty champs are glorified for 2 days, right? 3 days, because it doesn't last long before they got a new update or whatever out. But eventually it'll get to the point where it's like, oh, you won in Call of Duty. Like, oh, well, play me in Halo, play me in 2K, play me in Madden, and so that's a goal. $1 million campaign, though.
And when I researched you, I saw that you foster an environment of positivity for your gamers. How important do you think it is to have a safe space for the people that fall up under your umbrella, man?
So I've always seen it's vitally important. I have always seen that gaming has always been this like ostracized thing where people are shunned, especially when I was growing up. Like if you were a gamer and you were found out as a gamer, you know what I mean? That was not a good look. But everybody doesn't play sports. Everybody doesn't have the capability to play sports. Some people have, terrible asthma and, mental conditions and, or they just don't like sports. And so I find it vital to their, to their own self esteem, to their own self-awareness, that they have something for them that that isn't like, because everybody's like, oh, you like video games, why don't you build them? Like you said, in the beginning, why don't you make them, or why don't you join cybersecurity or whatever? And it's like, that's all cool, but that isn't what everyone wants, right? And anything that has as many people wanting it as gaming does, like gamers want a space to game, right? So creating that space is a 10 out of 10 on importance. A safe space where everybody feels comfortable there. And on top of that, they're not only like, they're not just, what's the right word? Accepted for their diversity. They're not just accepted for the difference that they are in their gaming, but it's like truly appreciated. Diversity is truly appreciated, because I can't win on my team. Even if I'm the best sports game player in the world, I can't win without you, the strategy game player. And so though we don't really see eye to eye, and I may see you as this or that or whatever, I need you, and I need you to teach me, because I need to be better at this, and we can grow together in this gaming world and speak that same language. And so the community find the craziest friendships when I see them all the time, and I'm like, whoa, like I know for a fact y'all would never be friends outside of this world ever. But because of this, you guys are now like, you understand each other and you truly appreciate each other.
That's solid, man. It's almost, and you know what's fun is, I believe sports in itself is a brotherhood, sisterhood, like no question. And that includes the refs, you know what I mean? Like it's all a family oriented. And I'll tell you what, man, I've been seeing lately too, man, a lot of professional athletes big into the games. A lot of people that you recognize are big into these esports and this game and stuff now too, man. And I'll tell you what, a while ago, it was me growing up. You're right. It was like, man, like only nerds was into the games like that. Like we ain't doing it like that. We not playing we playing the sports games. You know what I mean? We playing those. But now, man, you see, it's more culturally cool, if you will, to be a part of those things, man. And no matter where you're at, you can still just be yourself, right? You just enjoy the camaraderie. You enjoy the competition of just being who you are at that moment inside of that game. Man, I love it, brother. I love it. Here's the deal. We're done with the good stuff. Now I'm going to have some fun with you. And I don't know if I can beat this here, because this was solid. But at the end of every show, I have a game that I like to play. And I started it last season. And I didn't have a name. But this season, I call it Pick One. I put you on the spot. I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I want you to be honest and truthful. All right? You ready?
I got you.
Go get it. You only get to keep one game ever. What game you keep?
Oh, that's tough. Jeez. It's probably, if it's one game, it's probably got to be Gears of War.
I remember Gears of War. Okay.
Because there's just so much thinking in it, and strategy, and on top of it being a shooter, it's a lot. So I think.
Boy, that was kind of tough on you, man.
It was hard to eliminate all the other games.
All right. One person that you would never want to play in a game again. Who's your person that you never playing again?
That I would never want to play against. Man, there's this guy in our league. He goes by the Cat. And he is unreal in video games, like legendary gamer. Yeah, I never want to play that guy.
Like, nah, you win automatically.
I never want to play that guy.
I'm just take my L.
He's good at everything. Like he's dominant.
Yeah. Last one. I give you the phrase, "This is my moment." What's the first thing comes to your mind?
Right now.
Yeah.
This is my moment. I know it with every ounce of my being, man. I know that 6 months from now,
Yeah.
it'll be hard to look back because I only got forward to go. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, this is my moment right now.
I dig that. Hey, Titus, we done, G. Don't leave, man. I'm gonna close the show out. I want to ask you some questions offline, man. So appreciate you. Thank you for coming out, man. And man, thank you for making me smile. I enjoyed this thoroughly. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Don't move. Hang on. Hey, guys, it's okay to own what you enjoy. It's all right, man. People may look down on it. People may talk about it, but you know what? It's who you are. It's what makes you you. So if someone doesn't like what you got going on, that's all right. They don't have to, as long as you enjoy it. Be the best version of you that you can be. And then at the end of the day, go get it!
Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better. Cause it's all about growth, all about success. We wanna see you rise, wanna see you at your best.